Let us get it cracking on another day, a beautiful day. Yes. Uh huh. Wake up, stretch out, it's a brand new day. Sun shining in, keep the blues at bay. Peace, y'all. Feel the vibe hit right. Danny's dropping knowledge, bringing wisdom to light. Herbs in the air, you can breathe in the flow. Your health is your wealth, let your spirit grow. From keys to the greens, he's got that remedy. Transforming lives, let's call it a symphony. Wellness Wednesdays, turn your mindset around. On WHCR, you hear the truth profound. Daddy's got the secrets, gonna elevate your mood. Health is your wealth, feel the gratitude. Mind, body, soul, we're a trifecta. Danny breaks it down, always goes deeper. Nutrition tips, meditation, and breathe. Each week a new guest, inspiring finesse. Community focus, we rise together. Stay engaged, make moves like birds of a feather. Tune in, don't miss it, the vibe is so right. Elevate your game from morning to night. Wellness Wednesdays, turn your mindset around. On WHCR, hear the truth profound. Danny's got the secrets, gonna elevate your mood. Health is your wealth, feel the gratitude. It's more than a show, it's a lifestyle. Real talk, real vibes, you'll be here for a while. Sipping on that herbal tea, feeling alive in the zone with Danny, where the good times thrive. Rise and shine, let's break down the walls. Knowledge is power, let's answer the calls. From fitness to wellness, we're keeping it tight. Danny's got your back, bringing wisdom to light. Join the movement, let your heart resonate. This is the hour, don't hesitate. Living life aglow, we're shining so bright. Tune into the vibes that'll take you to new heights. Oh, baby. We are here. We are awake. We are alive. Grand Rising. Good morning. On another beautiful Wellness Wednesday on the People's Healing Hour. I am your host, known in the streets, in the clinics, in the forest, as the People's Herbalist. Yes. And now, as we move into the summertime, because it is, yes, going to be a hot one. So it's going to be a toasty summer. We got to make sure that we're taking our health and wellness serious. You should wake up early. You should get outside before the heat scorches you, before the sun is unbearable. We should take some deep breaths. We should have a moment of appreciation that we get to conquer our day. We get to be on the good side of the soil, alive and well, and able to do incredible things. Uh, Now, always, since we are fresh off of this New York Knicks championship run, we're going to celebrate the New York Knicks. And it's not too late. Yeah, it could have happened weeks ago. I don't care because it's been a long time since we had a chip. So, shout out to the Knicks one time for the Knicks winning the NBA title. Uh, it is now, as we move into the summertime, right? It is months of awareness, and it is Minority Mental Health Month. Now, we got to make sure that we are taking this very serious. Mental health is a serious, serious issue within our society. And that could be evident in the craziness of the New York Knicks fans that were wilding out in the streets. But no, in all seriousness, minority mental health is a very, very big topic that we need to take in consideration. And given, the timing that we're at right now and going through Juneteenth, about to go to 4th of July, shout out to everybody that's taking their seriousness and freedom and relaxation. And now the school is coming to an end. There's going to be a lot more activity, a lot more kids in the street, a lot more people doing things and traveling. We want to make sure that we are in the best of mental health while we're doing this, right? We got so many people dealing and battling with different issues associated with mental health, right? Since 2022, the number of Americans experiencing serious psychological distress has jumped over 10%, now affecting nearly 15 million adults. People dealing with levels of stress and overwhelm that interfere with daily life. Now, people often suffer in silence. Right? We often think that it's okay just to muscle through and get past it and be tough. That was a big topic last month. Well, last week, we were talking about men's mental health because this is not a topic that we talk about a lot, but men's mental health is very, very serious. And the traumas and the PTSDs and all of the things that impact how we operate on a daily basis. These are long lasting, pathogenic, and detrimental memories, oftentimes, thoughts and memories that can hurt us, that can cause us anxiousness and anxiety disorder and depressive disorders. The reasons can vary so widely, right? We got, growing up, a lot of people had fathers or grandfathers and they showed them love through providing and protecting and sacrifice, but not always with a hug or an I love you or, I'm proud of you. Not necessarily in those ways, but showing love in the way of like, hey, this is how you be a man. And sometimes that comes with whoopings. That goes back to, the topic of Juneteenth. We think about the liberation of the slaves that did not realize that the laws had changed. So the actual official Freedom Day around the board on Juneteenth. But there has been a trickle down of whoopings, as this is something I think is ingrained in Black people's DNA. We want to make sure, right? This is a common theme. A whooping, a hard head makes a soft butt. Now, this definitely comes from residual trauma of slavery. There's no other way that we can justify how ingrained it is for the Black community to issue out whoopings over the years. And I'm not saying only Black people were doing corporal punishment, but I feel like there's something that's related to some trauma and genetics, and slavery and whoopings have some type of correlation. I need a geneticist and a psychologist to hop on the radio with me one day and let's analyze this topic because I think it's serious. Many of our elders, they had to endure things we would never have to endure, and they had never had the chance to heal from certain things that they had to endure, and it's kind of been passed down lineage and line by line. I would say, luckily for me, I had a dad that was very loving. So shout out to my pops. Yeah, he was very loving, and he showed me how to be a man, but didn't necessarily have to whoop me. I was scared as heck of him, though. The intimidation factor was definitely there. So, the fear factor, the respect factor, that's definitely something that is big in our communities and our households. But it doesn't always necessarily have to end up in a whooping. And yeah, man, y'all can call in. We're gonna have some conversations today. If y'all want to chime in, the phone number is 212-650-6903. If y'all want to chime in on the mental health topic, if y'all want to talk about generational trauma, y'all want to talk about being Black and free and happy. Man, it's definitely a good feeling to know that everything is possible. Anything is possible. As we go through Juneteenth, going into 4th of July. How many people celebrate 4th of July and Juneteenth, or one or the other? I've had conflicting conversations with our people. Some was like, "Hey, look, we shouldn't be celebrating July 4th because we weren't free during that time." 250 years marks 2026 of American freedom, but still there were slaves at that time. So the Juneteenth is supposed to be our true liberation and celebration of freedom. But I want to know how people feel about that. I've had conflicting conversations because, yeah, we should be proud of living in America. There's definitely a lot worse places to live. I'll tell you that. They say it's the greatest country on earth. We have the biggest uh, influence for sure. And being black in America, it's like a different culture, y'all. We are the coolest. We set the tone for the rest of the world culture wise, and what is considered hip, right? That's what we do. That's our superpower. So, all the negative things said about the black community, realize that we are the drivers of what is going on in the world. And yes, there's some negative things, there's some large areas of opportunity in our behavior and our cultural standards in some instances, but we are amazing. You are amazing. Royalty. Your skin gives you power, right? I know there's a lot of people dealing with black inferiority. I'm not ever going to say white superiority again. I'm done with it. I'm going to go and say white inferiority syndromes where people think that they are not as good or their skin is not as desirable, and that's a internal conflict. That doesn't that doesn't necessarily mean anybody is better than you. It means that you have a reflection of yourself that is not where it should be, and we're here to destroy that. It needs to die. It needs to go away, never to be seen again, because it definitely has impacts on trauma and our self ideology and how we are viewing our own self worth, and we are special. So, man, yeah, it is heat advisory. We got to be careful because it's about to be toasty, toasty, toasty out here in these streets. So make sure that you are practicing healthy hydration habits, protocols. Make sure there's a lot of water being consumed and not just empty water. Yes, you want to have water, you need it, but in order to hydrate appropriately, you got to have some electrolytes. Get some nettle tea in your life. I mean, Gatorade is better than nothing, but we try to be as holistic as you can. Try to get a little lemon, a little Himalayan sea salt in your water. Those are electrolytes too. That's one of the biggest marketing scams, I think, in our society. Gatorade kind of demanded the entire market. They commandeered the entire electrolyte market as if you can only get electrolytes from Gatorade. But no, you can definitely get electrolytes from some fruits, some teas, and salts. All right, that's what it is. It helps you absorb, or I should say, utilize the water and also the minerals that are required for us to live. Right? So, yeah, man, y'all rocking out with your boy, the People's Herbalist, on the People's Healing Hour on WHCR 90.3 FM radio.
Harlem has its own radio station, WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem.
All right. It's summertime.
Here it is, a groove slightly transformed. Just a bit of a break from the norm. Just a little something to break the monotony of all that hardcore dance that has gotten to be a little bit out of control. It's cool to dance, but what about a groove that soothes and moves romance? Give me a soft, subtle mix. And if it ain't broke, then don't try to fix it. And think of the summers of the past. Adjust the bass and let the alpine blast. in my CD and let me run a rhyme and put your thought on cruise and lay back, cause it's summertime. School is out and it's sort of a buzz. But back then I didn't really know what it was. But now I see what happened is the way that people respond to summer madness. The weather is hot and girls are dressing less and checking out the fellas to tell them who's best. Riding around in your Jeep or your Benzos or in your Nissan sitting on Lorenzo's. Back in Philly, we be out in the park. A place called the Plateau is where everybody go. Guys out hunting and girls doing likewise. Honking at the honey in front of you with the light eyes. She turn around to see what you beaving at. It's like the summer's a natural aphrodisiac. And with a pen and pad, I compose this rhyme to hit you with a get you equipped for the summertime.
All right. Welcome back to the People's Hill now, man. It's summertime. And y'all know what we are rocking out and having. Oh, another Wellness Wednesday experience. Discussing minority mental health. And also holistic health across the board, but specifically the health that starts up here in the brain, in the mind, in our emotions, and how we're seeing and perceiving our reality. This is the catalyst of disease or healing. Every time, all the time. It starts with your mind. So we got to focus on the top and get the trickle down benefits of having better vision of ourselves and a vision of the world and the potentials of it. So, it's summertime, it's heat advisories, it's toasty, going to hit up to 100 degrees. It's going to be a wild summer. And hydration is key. I always like to talk about this. We got our mocktails, our herbal mocktails for the summertime, the Hibiscus Bliss on Lips campaign. We want y'all to have some of the healthiest things. And thepeoplesherbalist.com, we got some items. And we're going to be doing some pop-ups across the tri-state area. In particular, let me give a big shout out to Nicholas BK. Nicholas BK, July 11th with ZL Healing Sanctuary. I will be out there with a pop-up mocktail bar. Of course, I will be at some farmers markets as well, but I got to give a shout out to Nicholas BK, Monique Nicholas, and the entire staff and supporters and the team of that amazing establishment. I definitely want to support them. I'll be there July 11th for a men's mental health community meeting. So that's open to everybody that wants to be in community with other men that want to work on their mental health. There's nothing wrong with coming in community with other guys dealing with different things that we're not going to talk about usually in public, but in private amongst our peers, there's no better way for catharsis. So, man, I want to talk about some things that are difficult, right? And therapy is one of those things. Admitting that you might need therapy is one of those things that's difficult. And it's all right to struggle with it, but there are resources, especially, you know what, shout out to Mount Sinai, because I went to an event hosted by the amazing women of, oh my goodness, what's this event that I had gone to? Links Incorporated. Part of my brain fart. Links Incorporated, they had an event several months ago, and I met a representative from Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center, and they put me on game. So I got to put y'all on game because they provide, listen to this now, free services for the youth. This includes primary care, exams, physicals, mental health counseling, therapy, and family therapy for free. They're doing this out here at Mount Sinai. It's confidential. There's no cost. And if you're between the ages of 10 and 26 years old, you can go and receive some services, health services, mental health services, physical health services. And If we're not taking at least one step to try to get better and utilizing the resources that are afforded to us, we are part of the problem. I got to say this. We have to be part of the solution. And if there's resources, yes, I know there's a lot of people that have negative connotations and outlooks on going to the hospital, going to the doctor, but it's not all bad. There's definitely great opportunities for us to take our health into our own hands with scans and professionals. And if they're doing this for free as a resource for our communities, we got to get out there and do it. All right, so y'all can definitely go take a look at Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center. They are providing services for kids between 10 and 26 years old. And yeah, I had to get that off my chest and make sure that people have access to some resources, because we can talk till we're blue in the face, but if we're not moving, if we don't know where to go and what to do and who to talk with, we're not going to really get that much results that we need. And yeah, man, sometimes you got to go against the grain. Sometimes you may hear things that are embedded into your mind over time, but you got to do what's best for you. And going against the grain in some instances is what is required. In the spirit of going against the grain, I got to shout out to a couple of people that I have either had communications with, friends with, seen in some capacity doing what I would, and I think anybody would consider far out there, world changing, life changing, paradigm shifting, going against the grain, doing what is said to be impossible or not in alignment with the status quo, right? So I got to give a little quote that I had read in the Kappa Alpha Psi Journal, and shout out to my brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. This is from Andre Dickens, the mayor of Atlanta. Said, you can't stick with the status quo any longer. You can't stay static. And you can't use the same old tools to solve all of the new problems. That is Andre Dickens, the mayor of Atlanta, and my fraternity brother of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity. But yeah, we got to go against the grain, and we got to challenge the status quo in ways that may seem impossible. And one of the people that I've seen doing this is a gentleman named Moses West. Moses West, he has created, or I should say, he has demonstrated and brought to many different areas a machine called the atmospheric water generator. Atmospheric water generator. And yes, that is exactly what it sounds like. Atmosphere, the air, water generator, generating water through the air. And putting this out in Flint, Michigan, where they're still struggling with getting some clean water, still to this day, and in many other areas. This atmospheric water generator. I believe he was retired Navy or Marine, and he had created this device, and he's bringing it to communities and actually bringing free, clean water to the people that need it. And that's going against the grain. All right, water companies don't want you to be able to have your own water for free out the air. There's a lot of industries that think that this is problematic, but he has done it. So shout out to Moses West. That is definitely a name that I suggest you guys look into, because he is doing something that's very incredible. Another person going against the grain, right? Paradigm shifting, game changing. A gentleman named Julian Brown. Now, this is another gentleman that he's a young, I'm saying gentleman, but he is a young man. I don't think he's any more than 25, 26, maybe 27 at the most. And he's done something that is definitely against the grain, a risk to his health and safety. But he has created a machine to turn plastic waste into gasoline. He calls it plastoline. I've been following this gentleman for about 5 years, and I seen his beginning where he has this machine called a microwave pyrolysis machine, and you take plastic, you put it in there. It's a vacuum. There's no oxygen, so extreme heats from microwaves melt the plastic, and instead of burning in combustion, right? There's no oxygen for fire. It just turns back into some of the base crude oil on which plastic is made from. There's natural gas that it turns into, and then there's also liquid fuel that it turns into. And this gentleman, over the 5 years, has developed this and improved this process, and now he is going to be cruising around the country with a mobile microwave pyrolysis machine turning plastic into fuel. It sounds far fetched. It sounds like a great sci-fi movie, but it's real. This man is out here doing this. So I got to give him his props, and I want to make sure that the world knows about his activity, because I can clearly see he's putting it all on the line for humanity. It's not just for a dollar. He's not trying to patent this equipment. This man is out here on a mission. And you know those people that they woke up because they heard a message from God. You can tell he's one of those guys that was like, yo, God woke him up and say, look, this is your mission. This is your passion. This is your purpose. Now go make it happen, no matter what obstacles are in front of you. And the obstacles were pretty immense. Like I said, I watched him for 5 years do this process, and I think he might be on the seventh iteration of this machine that he had fabricated from scraps. And now he's gotten donations and engineers and other professionals to help him be more safe. But when he first had done this, he showed that it could work. And given the limited resources that he had, he made one of the versions of this microwave pyrolysis machine and blew himself up. Like, I mean, he was doing this on streaming this live on the social media platforms, and there was an explosion, and you can see him running like Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner on fire, literally on fire. I'm saying this in jest now because he's healthy, he is fine, but this was a very scary moment. The man blew himself up with a machine that he was creating, trying to change and improve humanity by turning waste, plastic waste, into fuel. And he had a long healing process, and he got right back on the horse after he got out the hospital. Legs devoid of skin. He had pink feet and black skin. I had jokes about that, but yeah, man, I had to give him his flowers, and I think everybody should know this man's name, Julian Brown. He's in the South somewhere. I'm not even going to highlight his location, but it's definitely in the South. And he's doing something incredible and definitely going against the grain, doing so, turning plastic waste into fuel. And he's powered motorcycles, Chevy trucks, Bentleys. Uh, I Yeah, he's definitely gone and proven that this plastoline is 110 octane, I believe. It's viable, functional, and safe. So shout out to Julian Brown for going against the grain, turning plastic waste into fuel. So that deserves a big applause. Definitely. You get the whole thing. Pause. Julian Brown. It's definitely a good look and world changing technology that he's bringing to the forefront. Everybody knows that plastic is, a problem. It doesn't degrade. We got microplastics in our blood, in our brain, in our testicles. That some research is showing. It's definitely microplastics, and the abundance of pollution within the oceans itself is a major, major problem. So that is one of the potentials for fixing it. And going against the grain again, we got more, more people. And yeah, man, we're on WACR 90.3 FM radio, the voice of Harlem, just discussing our immense abilities right now. We're talking about going against the grain. We're talking about some impactful people that everybody should know about moving forward as we continue. You know, time is going by fast, very, very fast, so fast we're losing track. I know it's already another month going by. We're already more than halfway past this 2026 year. I can't believe to say that out loud. It just sounds nutty. But yeah, we got action. We got some amazing things happening. And speaking of another amazing thing, I gotta share this story because y'all know, as the people's herbalist, I love using nature to help people heal, to help them recover, to help them feel better within their environment, reduce their stress levels and their inflammatory markers and things of that nature. But I really got into herbalism because I wanted to find some natural solutions to help people dealing with cancer, the treatments of cancer, the cancer itself in many different areas, right? You know, cancer is abnormal growths proliferating in certain areas of the body. It's not all one, it's not all the same, but they have growths in different parts of the body requiring some different supports of many different modalities. Sometimes you need a surgery. Sometimes you are better off using some type of chemotherapeutic. Sometimes radiation is the best option for you if you want to rid yourself of these things. Sometimes, for some people. But also, there are many other times where you can use herbs. You can use natural means. You can have better sleep and hydration and holistic habits, looking at your life and what could be causing the emotional trauma and turmoil that can generate these abnormal growths. Because a lot of the times when they say, "Oh, we don't know how this cancer has come about. There's no genetic markers in your lineage. It's just happened spontaneously." You know, I don't know how many other people believe this, but I am one of the advocates for it. There's nothing that just happens for nothing. There's always a trigger. There's always some type of cause, and we may not understand it. We may not be capable of understanding it in our limited capacities, but there is always something. And I think that something has to do with energy, our emotions, our ability to handle stressors or negative vibrations that are in our vicinities. Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's just an environment, sometimes it's smells and fragrances, sometimes it's sounds. I mean, there's so many different stimuli that can impact our anatomy, and we don't take them all serious. Mostly it's what you eat. That's the thing that we focus on the most. And I mean, it makes sense. What we eat and what we drink definitely play a part in how our body breaks things down and builds itself back up, right? That's the fuel. Those are the sources. But there's definitely some other things as well that impact us. And being aware of energy and how our emotions can be pathogenic, as aka disease causing, is something that we should be more cognizant of. Growing and building is definitely what we want to do as a community. And my role as the people's herbalist, you know, I have worked with doctors in the medical establishment in many different capacities, and I find that it has given me a better sense of what can be done, what should be done in many approaches for the people. And I will tell you, as clear as day, if we're not breathing, this is something that you'll hear me say all the time. If we're not intentionally taking breaths, if we're not taking moments, you know, take a beat, to breathe, to think something out, to not engage in a social media dispute or post, or just simply turn your phone on do not disturb and listen to the birds chirping quietly in the forest or in the parks or by the Hudson River. Those are very free, very simple, and very effective ways to make major impacts on our anatomy, on our nervous system, on our immune function. And there's never been a better time for us to go outside because it is now hot. Oh yeah. Woo. Oh yeah. How many of y'all remember this one? Yeah, I used to love Beverly Hills Cop, man. The heat is on. That was definitely a big movie for me back in the day. I used to love that joint. Me and my brother used to watch it all the time. But yeah, it's hot. It's gonna be a hot one. Heat wave is happening. We got summertime is on us now, and we got to make sure that we are right. They say when the heat is on, when it's hot out, people get miserable and start doing dumb stuff, start acting out like they ain't got no good sense. But we got to do better, and working on getting our mental health right is definitely the avenue that we got to approach. Mental health, emotional health. These are serious things, and we got to discuss them here on the People's Healing Hour on WHCR 90.3 FM radio, the voice of Harlem. Minority Mental Health Awareness Month is here. Understanding anxiety is at the top of these mental health disorders, but many people are coping with it and able to handle it and deal with it and have it as a normal part of life. But depressive disorders, these are more problematic. These are harder to mask and harder to hide. And it's definitely another thing that a lot of our people are dealing with and battling with. They say anxiety alone affects over 40 million adults. So they say, everyone's a little anxious. They're not really exaggerating. This is an accurate statement. There are a lot of people that are dealing with anxiety. But when it comes to the mental health and emotional health topic, I feel like these two terms are interchangeable. They get used interchangeably, but they're not necessarily the same. The mental health aspect is the brain function, cognition, the memory, the diagnosis of a psychiatric disorder, clinical condition. That's the mental health. It's like the hardware, the brain wiring, right? And emotional health is a lot more subtle, more the software, more of the feelings, how you're processing stress, how you're processing grief, how you're processing joy. And sometimes joy can definitely be a big time stressor that can cause you to go out of whack, which is seems kind of interesting. But anytime a wild emotional swing happens to our body, there's changes and adjustments. And sometimes changes and adjustments equals pain, or sometimes changes and adjustment equals discomfort, right? That's physical and that's metaphorical, right? When we're going through change, that's one of the toughest things for people to do is adapt and, thrive within that. But that is one of our superpowers as Black people. I feel like we are adaptable. We can recover, and we need to. We just need to have the tools to do so. So we got a lot of action, we got a lot of opportunities, and we have a lot of people doing some amazing things. The mental health counselors, the health coaches that are focusing on our nervous system, the chiropractors that are in our communities. The chiropractors, y'all know, are the doctors of the nervous system. They're not the back crackers, but they understand the nervous system in an intricate way and how to structure aligns to help with the flow of electrical information and pain management. So shout out to the chiropractors, the good ones that practice vitalism, not just mechanistic approaches. Um, but yeah, we have some amazing individuals that are doing the work out here to lead the way. My brother, Maurice Ingram, I had to give him a shout out because I'm hoping to have him on the show one day. Dr. Maurice Ingram, that is, to talk about some of the struggles and talk about some of the resources and other tools that are out there outside of Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center, outside of the call hotline that you can phone into if you're ever in a pinch, 1-888 NYC Well. You can call into that if you are in a crisis. You need somebody to talk to. You feel like life is doing a number on you and you might want to do something that you may regret. Call that number, 888 NYC Well, or you can text Well to 65173. It provides crisis counseling and connects people to ongoing care if you are in one of those scenarios. Getting care. If you have the flu, you want to get some care. If you have a broken leg, you want to get some care. If emotionally you are distraught, you want to get some care. Just because it's not a physical ailment doesn't mean you don't deserve the help and you shouldn't seek out help. So please take this advice, please take these resources and apply them. Getting checked is okay. Checking in on your health and your mental is a good thing, right? Because you can't heal a body that never feels safe. I'll say that one more time. You cannot heal appropriately if you never feel safe. And sometimes safety is more than just security of having a locked door. Sometimes safety is being able to cope and navigate with past feelings and traumas of life. And if those things are still, you can't hide behind any doors, you can't go under any bed to escape some things that may be inside your mind that you need to work through. So that is a very, very serious topic. And if anybody wants to call in and chime in on one of these topics, 212-650-6903. To the men, if you're listening, we will raise the idea to never let them see you cry. Call in. I want to hear some opinions about this. Never let them see you cry. You think that helped us? You think that hurt us? You think that gave a little bit of both? A little tough love made us, more resilient? Or has there been some traumas that have come from this that have hindered some people's growth and development? Feel like this is a great conversation. It could go so many different ways, right? Depending on your opinion, your experience, what you've gone through, man. How many of us grew up hearing, "Stop crying before I give you something to cry about"? That is definitely one of them terms, one of them things that I've heard a time or two. And how does that affect how we express emotions? How do we show up when we got big emotions? Do we keep them in? Do we let the tears out? Do we hide our faces if we're in a room of people? Do we walk out to express our emotions? Do you sit there and just cry comfortably in your masculinity? I mean, there's so many different things. I don't know which right. I want to hear from y'all, man. So y'all can call in 212-650-6903. And let's talk about how men express their emotions. Is that something taboo? You can't talk about this? Tough guys don't talk about crying. You can't talk about dealing with emotions. Is that something that we want to continue in our society? Is that how we want to continue to raise our young men? Right? Because, yeah, toughness is important. Mama ain't raised no punk. You don't want that. But there's a line, isn't it? I feel like there might be a thin line between toughness and toxic masculinity. I think that's the term that they use nowadays. Toxic masculinity. I think that's kind of funny. I think you could just say that you're being a jerk, but I don't know why you want to throw the idea of being a man and being toxic together. I feel like we got enough of bad rap out here because there are some, you know, not the most appealing and mindsets across the board when it comes to black men. But man, yeah, man, the older generation, they need the speed of the youth, and then the youth need the wisdom of our elders. So if you are an elder and you were alive the last time the Knicks won a championship, call in. We got a couple more minutes on the radio show, and the phone line's open, man. We are here on the People's Healing Hour on WHCR 90.3 FM radio, the voice of Harlem. And we want to hear the voice of the people, right? We want to hear what y'all got to say. What type of experiences do you have when it comes to dealing with emotions as men, as a man, or raising a man? How does that work, right? Because I think it's important that we break stigmas. I think it's important that we look at therapy as not a weakness, not something that only sissies do, right? Pardon the language, but this just throwing terms that I've heard used before, right? Let's address it head on. You know, they think there's something wrong with you, but that mindset I think is outdated, right? Therapy is a tool for self-awareness, a space to process life, and a strategy for growth. There's nothing wrong with having growth strategies, right? There ain't nothing wrong with being on top of what you believe to be the best avenue for you to be the biggest success and have the happiest life that you can possibly have. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, pursuing happiness in your way, and being free in your own mind. Right? We go to the gym, we work out, we exercise, we run for our physical body, but for our mental health, actually running and being outside is good for our mental health too. But sometimes we have to do something specifically for our mental health. And sometimes therapy is the best route. And it doesn't necessarily need to be all of the negative things that have been associated with it. But yeah, man, we are expressing emotions on the radio, on the People's Healing Hour, on WHCR 90.3 FM radio, the voice of Harlem. It is now Minority Mental Health Month, but it is also Disability Pride Month. That's a really interesting term, Disability Pride Month. Being proud, even though you may not have the same abilities as everybody else. And this actually means a lot to me personally, because I've worked in the disabled community for a few years at United Cerebral Palsy of Nassau, UCP. Uh, Shout out to the people in Long Island. Shout out to the participants in that program. If y'all still remember Danny, uh, I worked as a community integration specialist over there, and I had some of the greatest and most fond memories working with and assisting adults with cerebral palsy. Some were unable to utilize any of their limbs. Some were unable to speak verbally, but they had speaking devices and monitors and other uh, communication assistance devices, and were sharp as knives. I tell you, they would have these conversations, tell jokes. One, these guys had me go up to a live showing of the Maury Show. They requested it, and I was able to take them out there. And the jokes and the experience and the times we had, I will cherish them for the rest of my life. But it does have a reminding process that there are people that are dealing with many disabilities that often get downplayed, right? They get kind of pushed aside as second class citizens. We cannot do that. We got to look at people in the eye. And no matter what you may assume about their disability, you don't know them, and they are people. And we treat people the way that we should treat all people. So there's a term called ableism that it highlights, what people that are quote unquote normal or have all of their normal biological functions and kind of have a superiority complex and think negative or wrongly about the abilities of people with disabilities. So that's something that we got to combat on a daily basis and make sure that we are not participating in prejudice in any way or minimizing the abilities based on what we perceive. So, shout out to all of the people dealing um, in United Cerebral Palsy, that building, and all of the caretakers and direct care professionals. My heart is still with y'all, even though I'm not there working anymore. I still definitely believe that we have to do better to provide the highest quality services. That was a tag of their organization. Provide the highest quality services to the participants. That's my goal here on the People's Healing Hour. The highest quality information, knowledge, and morning experience when you wake up. So today, I want y'all, as we come to a close and a conclusion of this hour, I can't believe it's been really quick how this moments just fly by. But I got to give a recap, man. We talked about some of the mental health issues that our country is dealing with, our minority population is dealing with, our men are dealing with. We also talked about the nervous system. You cannot heal a body that is constantly in hyperactive stress state or dealing with fear and never feeling safe with trauma and generational wounds, right? That's an important aspect and concept we always got to take into consideration. Healing from the top down, as in your brain and then your body. But we also had talked about some of the people going against the grain. Oh man, hold on. Who I got on here calling me? We got a caller. Hold up, real second. All right, what's your name? Oh, my bad. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Mama June calling from Kakalaki. You know, I had to wait to the end because I was out there dealing with my babies, my girls, my bees. And I just want to thank you for giving the shout out to let people know about health, especially mental health, and especially counseling. And the one thing I'm going to add to this real quick, being a retired military, coming back from combat, we had to go see a counselor. I was like, ain't nothing wrong with me. I don't want to see no counselor, but I'm going to tell you something. That's the best thing. Some people need just one session with a counselor. Tell them all your business because they can't say nothing to nobody else because they don't know you. Let it out. So shout out to the people's herbalists. Shout out to everybody out there that's dealing with some stuff because something's wrong with everybody. You need to just chill, relax, and then show love.
That's the way to go about it. Thank you for calling in, Mama. I appreciate you. Have fun out there with your bees. Stay cool Don't overexert yourself. But yeah, man, I miss you. I will see you soon.
All righty.
All
Have a
right.
blessed one.
Oh man, it's always good to get a shout out from Mama June, man. She has so much knowledge, so much love, so much wisdom to share with people. And she's out there in South Carolina dealing with the bees. And that's one thing I got to give another shout out to my home girl, Mellifera Estates, Elizabeth. We're going to be having these nature retreats going out there, the people's healing events. You come out there with the people's herbalists, come out there and have an experience in the woods and nature and take your health back by being a part, intricate part. Disconnect from the rat race to reconnect with nature and your human spirit, right? It's important to get away from a lot of people to find out who you are and what you're made of. It always takes some time, right? And we got to grow together. And I think that having these retreats will be something that'll be very beneficial for our communities. And I look forward to be able to do this for people in Harlem, for people out in Jersey. We will have pickup locations and carpooling opportunities to get people out of the city and into the sticks, onto the farms, learn about self sustainability, doomsday prepper information. But really, it's about learning the process of living off the land, something that we have forgotten through a couple of generations of inner city living and not connecting with our food sources. It's been a while. And I know a lot of people have the knowledge, but need to be reminded on how it is to live again back in alignment with Mother Nature. So, yeah, man, we got to do our best. If we knew better, we do better. We got opportunities to get out in nature. We got a shout out to the people that are going against the grain and changing the world. Gave a shout out to Julian Brown, his microwave pyrolysis machine. Shout out to Moses West, the atmospheric water generator. But I also wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Hydea Nicole Green for her LANT. This is called laser activated nanotherapy cancer treatment that has moved into what is necessary for the third stages on human trials, but she needs a lot of money raised. So got to give a shout out to Aura Lee Foundation and anybody with a lot of money and care and consideration for cancer. If you have loss for cancer, if you want to donate to a cancer organization, that is the one. Aura Lee Foundation. She definitely is doing the work, and she has shown and proved that without chemotherapy, without damaging radiation, you can use lasers and nanoparticle gold to disrupt and destroy tumors with zero side effects. So, shout out to Dr. Hydea Nicole Green going against the grain to bring a cure for cancer. I say that with a question mark to the people because you cannot make claims of curing anything on this radio show. Never will, never do. But if you can destroy tumors without destroying the other parts of anatomy, that is a day and that is a thing to celebrate. So, Dr. Heidi and Nicole Green, shout out to you one time for going against the grain because that is an incredible feat. And man, so let y'all go as we round up this time on the People's Healing Hour. I appreciate y'all. Y'all stay cool out there, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace. I guess revamping the measles vaccine Come rates on, man. To get them back up. Seeing that it was the highest numbers of. All right. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. I'll holla at y'all next week. Peace.